Wait, what? Really? Okay.
Okay, with your host, Loren Weisman.
This is a fully licensed theme song for the show about stuff that makes you say, wait, what? Really? Okay.
Okay.
This is a mix of a podcast as well as an overview of how I do initial onboarding or starting of a discovery when it comes to working with me. And at the same time, if you're not working with me or you're working with someone that does messaging and optics or strategy, or even for that matter, marketing, some of the things that I do, you may want to look to ask those people that you're working with to do as well. All too often, those that are looking to rebuild their messaging, set their branding, they're oftentimes setting you into a template. It's something that pre-exists. It's something to really just take, as they claim, we think out of the box, except they're using all the same in-box terms. Something that's very important in the initial onboarding time with me is to learn a little bit more so that the words really can reflect the individual. I feel we've come to a time where, and I'm sure you've seen the emails, it's appear as an expert, be seen as an expert. But here's the problem, morally, ethically, faithfully. What if you aren't an expert? What if they aren't an expert? Many of these people are setting up words, framing, phrases, and optics to appear as something that they're not. So if you truly have that expertise, if you genuinely have that authority, if you have real experience to work your messaging, to work your brand foundation, to work the foundation of everything you'll do from any kind of content to social, to press releases, to what you put on the web, to take that time to ensure it has your voice and not a voice is key. Now, a lot of people choose to jump away from their voice because they might not have enough to be a voice yet. So they use a lot of these tactics. I ran across someone a couple days ago. This guy had great authority, great knowledge, great background, excellent. And yet everything that he was putting out on social stuff, on his call to actions, on his, the masterclass, I kind of disagreed with that thing, masterclass thing. He was using hype and messaging tactics of someone that had no authority. And in turn, it took down his true authority. He used hype. He used processing. He used this, false involvement. And in that and inside of those words, it took away from him. He didn't need to do that. Whoever he was working with, it put him into a box and took out all the elements that made him special. And in turn, he just sounded like someone else. And he sounded like someone that, for that matter, was kind of lying. In that same case, many of these marketers are stating, this is what you say. This is how you say it. You need to do this. You need to do that. You've got to do this to be seen. And in many cases, when some of these tactics that they're using are for people that don't have the ability, the authority, or the expertise. So if you are true to heart in your word, if you are true to heart in your honor, in your morals, then it's crucial to find your voice, not the voice, not a voice, but your voice, and work through the tactics and the honesty and honor and even humility. You can show off and highlight your authority without an arrogance, without making false claims, without making claims that are going to shut you down and push you out. Think along the lines of where you come from, where you are going, what you've done in the past, not even necessarily trying to hide things that may be different from the given career that you're in, because some of your expertise could have evolved from another area of expertise. And that combination and that truth and that for someone to be able to vet you, would you be open inside of your messaging, inside of what you're putting out there, for your biggest hero to see it, for the person that's looking up to you to see it, for a son or a daughter or a family member? Or do you have certain stuff and do you find yourself switching, but depending on the audience? If you have the authority, there is a stability, and there can be that stability that can make a greater foundation for your voice, for what you share. Don't jump on the latest trending thing. I have a friend that's a chiropractor I work with. One of the things I've had him stay away from is the fart joke. I mean, it's a fart joke. It started going a couple months ago, and it was somebody that was bending somebody, and you hear the crack, and then all of a sudden you hear a fart. And the chiropractor says, "Oh, that's natural. Don't worry about it." And then the person on the table being cracked is not embarrassed because they say, "Well, that was you." So that was funny the first 1,000 times when all of these chiropractors jumped on it. This trending copycat vibe doesn't bring any kind of authenticity. Okay, great. There's a funny joke. Okay, well, maybe my audience hasn't seen that. Well, maybe it might honor you a little bit more to share the root content. But at the same time, coming back to you, to find the content that is about you, to find the message of how you deliver that's about you, to find the right people to work with you. Stop thinking along the lines of you need to cast the net to get absolutely everybody, because that isn't necessarily true. If you are casting the net to decide the people that you most want to work with, that you most want to sell to, and even talking about the people that, hey, you know what, this product isn't for you. I'm not for many people. If you don't have that authority, if you don't have that honor, if you aren't prepared to be completely transparent, I'm not judging you, but I won't work with you. I have my boundaries, and inside of setting your boundaries, inside in this initial onboarding of knowing what you will do, what you won't do, who you work with, who you won't work with, what's been done before, looking at the subjective to the objective, looking at the compliance, looking at what you're allowed to do in a given field, especially if you fall into medical or law or other areas, to look at the complacency in a given field, to look at the competition, not to copy it, not to one-up it, not to hype it, but to find your voice. The cornerstone of what I look for inside of onboarding is a discovery to learn an array of the individual, what they've learned, how they execute, how they work, all these elements that I'm talking about. And then inside of that, building a genuine, authentic, individualized message and messaging packet that then can be used for content, can be used for web, it can be used for bio, branding, the outline of a book, setting up plans if there's going to be a podcast, if there isn't, and making sure that it's an individual journey and an individual map forward. It can align and have similarities to other things. But if you're out there not being true to you and having to lie, deceive, copy, cheat, and steal, and if that works for you, I mean, by all means, do your thing. But I know that there are a lot of people out there that genuinely want to create, connect, sell, and do business from the heart and from a solid foundation. And if you do, then make it you. Make it true. Make it transparent, and don't buy into so much of the hype of so many people not telling the full story or claiming they have all the secrets or all the answers or exactly what you need to do to appear as something you're not. Or on that same token, use this to appear as an expert when you already are an expert. And as opposed to using that, you can build a foundation to showcase, amplify, and illuminate the expertise you have. Be true to you. Be true to your experience, what you do, how you've done it, what you want to do. And you may just connect then with a greater, more sound, individualized message that will reach the type of people you want to work with and impact them in a way where they may hear just their ears opening a little bit more, their eyes opening a little bit more to see the difference that the truth makes over the constant fails that hype marketing basically lies about. podcast.